Welcome to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry. I'm an alcoholic.
I am Rob. I am also an alcoholic. We are not professionals. There are no letters after our names. We know very little. However, you will hear the word God and a four-letter word in the same sentence. You will also be offended. So if you are easily offended, just pass us by. This podcast is not for you.
Our opinions are just that. If you don't agree with what we're saying, that's okay. We're going to love you anyways. We are not in any way affiliated with AA.
So sit back, grab a beverage of your choice, and get ready.
Let's go. Hello, Rob.
Hello, Larry.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome back to Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry.
I'm Rob.
If you are at any time want to get in touch with us, you can reach us at recoveryunfiltered, Rob and Larry at gmail.com.
That's N, not A-N-D, Larry. Rob, the letter N, Larry.
So last time we talked, we went through a little bit of my story, talked about the podcast, introduced that a little bit. I don't think we really need to do a whole lot of recap. If you want to listen to that, go back to our previous episode, our very first one. It's the introduction to this, and we're getting to the second part of the introduction.
And if you don't want to listen to that, kick rocks.
Right. Attaboy. Way to finally step up, Rob.
I do my best.
We got to get the unfiltered part in here. We got to make sure they understand what the unfiltered part is. What is the unfiltered part?
Truth.
Right.
In all its forms. Warts and all, we're human.
Right.
I mean, sometimes cursing is a character defect of mine.
Right.
God is not removing as fast as maybe I would like, but it's real.
Right. And it's the same for me. The way I talk, the way I interact, the words I use, I'm not changing any of that. I'm not trying to be a professional. And as we talked about last time, this is just who I am. I'm
far better than I was.
Oh, me too. I mean, to be doing this now compared to if I was trying to do it 3 years ago. No, 3 years ago, I wouldn't even.
But you were a different human being. That guy's.
And that's what we talked about last week. And we're going to, like I said, we talked about that a little bit last week. Hopefully you get a chance to catch up. Like I said, this time we're going to dig into Rob a little bit, see how much we can dig out of him. But he's only 4'2", so it's not going to take very long.
Of course, I'm not actually that short. But I'm on the shorter side. Larry happens to be 6'3". I'm 5'7", so he gives me nothing but grief. But then when I give him one of these,
oh, there we go. Yeah. I knew that was coming. Yeah. Thank God we don't have audio visual in here.
Well, with all the burns I got, but the arms are nice.
Right. So, Rob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, being this is Recovery Unfiltered, I will jump right into because normally when I'm asked to speak, you usually start from the beginning.
Right.
I am not going to touch into childhood, and I just want to preface that it does play a part. You know, there were things that happened to me as a child that shouldn't happen to any child,
Gotcha.
But yet they did. I had a great family, grew up great, and me and Larry and I went to the same high school. Larry was a senior when I was a freshman, and we will touch on our lives.
Do you remember what I was like in high school?
You're a dick.
Hey, 40 years later, I was the same.
No, pretty close. We were on our way. Not that I was any better. I was, was a selfish, self-centered, insecure, teenager myself. Right. But no, you weren't a dick. I mean, I just.
Yes, I was.
Yes, you're a dick. That's all right. So what I'm going to pick up on, in school, because I've always been a great test taker.
Stop rocking.
Oh, sorry, rocking. And Larry can attest to this. There was a lot of our teachers. They would say if you get an A on the final,
right.
You passed the course because they figure you must have been paying attention.
Only way I graduated.
Me too. A great test taker until Larry, I don't know, 07, right? And it was the first time we were getting drug tested at work. Yeah. Here it came. And I did not pass that son of a bitch. Why?
Did you not study hard enough?
Well, I studied like a champ. I just didn't. I didn't. I gave them all the wrong answers. I thought they were the right answers, but they were not. But what that did for me is I had to go do an 8-hour outpatient.
Were you relieved that that's all you had to do?
No, I wasn't relieved at all. I was, okay. So here comes the test takers. So I call my boss. I call the union. Said, listen, I'm not going to pass this. So we had some of that going on. Of course, your stomach drops.
Right.
But up to this point, I was asking God for help. Because I thought this was my problem.
Now you're asking for his help.
Yeah, but even before this, I thought this was my problem. God, can you help me with this? Help me with this. I can't stop this.
Okay.
So this happens. So I get sent home. I have to go home. This is right around holidays. So
got to face the wife.
So I get home early. My son was not born. So you tell you how long ago this was. My daughter was a baby. She couldn't walk. She was just a baby. So I walk in. My wife's like, "Hey, you're home early. That's awesome." And I said, sit down. We need to talk. And the look I don't know what the look on my face was, but she sat down. And this is how you know how women, they go to the worst case scenario.
Right. Yeah.
And this was what she'll tell you. She goes, I thought you were getting ready to tell me you had an affair. I was like, this is much worse.
Would that have been easier for her?
I don't know, but that was her worst case scenario. I was like, this is much worse. You know, when I tell her I just popped on a drug test, didn't fail, and I got to do these. What it turned out to be, I had to go to New Hope for 2 days, 2 outpatient 8-hour days. Easy money, which means, okay, I can't do that no more. So outpatient program. And which means I couldn't do this anymore.
Right.
My problem was going to go away.
Right.
But, so on the last day, the second part, all I did was watch videos.
Now you're there, you're just there for drugs at this point.
Correct.
Right. Because that's what you got popped on.
That is correct.
Right.
So, and the gentleman that was doing my outpatient, the one that was seeing me out, because I didn't see anybody, I did.
Was it good drugs?
Huh?
Were they good drugs?
I don't do bad. Never did bad drugs. The best or nothing. The best or nothing. Good drug. That's funny. So I did my 8 hours, and my second day I was doing 8 hours, and then this gentleman sits across me. His drug of choice was heroin and alcohol. And he wants to talk, so he has to do some paperwork. Up until that point, I was just watching videos for 8 hours for 2 damn days. Videos on alcohol, videos on drugs, videos on whatever. So I don't know what help you're going to get from that. But anyway, so he's sitting across from me, and he starts asking me questions about my dad, who had passed away years before, 7 years before that.
Now, this guy was already in the program?
He was the counselor.
He was the counselor.
At this place called New Hope.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then he starts asking these questions, and I start getting emotional. I mean, I'm talking about ugly crying, snot. I mean, I was already emotional because, man, I just, embarrassed, relieved, kind of, and it just, not in a great place mentally. And my time was up, and he says, man, I wish I had more time with you. There's some steps I'd like you to do. I had no idea what he's talking about, steps. There's a couple letters I'd like you to write. I'd like to dive into this more. I said, partner, my time. I said, my fucking time is up. I'm leaving. Sign that. I fulfilled my obligation. I was so uncomfortable with what he was asking. All these things I'd been stuffing started to come out.
Starting to boil.
Yeah. So he did, and I left. Went to the store. I went right to the store, got a fifth of Jack Daniels in my truck. I can't do that other stuff, but boy, I can drink because that was not my problem.
No. And that's legal.
Yeah, it's legal, and that was never my. I drank all my life. That was never my problem. The other stuff was my problem.
For sure.
Lo and behold. But that, as you talked about, as we look back, that I want to say I didn't drink alcoholically before that. But that's when the drinking got heavy. That's when the drinking. That's your point. That is when I went over the edge. The cliff. Because you transferred one for the other. Well, I was doing both anyway.
Oh, okay. I
would do one to drink more. But for me, it was always a balance. You work hard, play hard. I never got in any trouble. I didn't beat the wife or kick the dog. None of that stuff. I just work hard, play hard.
Right. And you thought you deserved it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah, of course. There's food on the table.
100%. Absolutely.
It was all great. But and it hadn't been a problem. I hadn't gotten arrested. There was none of that kind of stuff. However, that's when, and maybe my wife would look back, that's when the drinking got heavy. And it came to the point where I would just drink, sleep, get up, work, drink, sleep. I was an absentee father, absentee husband.
How old were your kids at the time?
By the time when I went to rehab, or by the time?
No, when
that happened, my daughter was a year old. My son has not been born yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because she's now 22. Yeah. And he is 19, getting ready to be 20 next month. So it was a long time ago. So there was just drink, home, sleep, drink, home, sleep for years. It didn't start out that way that it got bad. 08, 09, we had a few moments. And then as it came up to about 2010, I got to go, you have that doctor visit where the doctor says, Mr. Thomas, your liver's, is this big. And I said, you're joking. I know, doc, it's working overtime, baby. Come on. Do you want to see, you ever, like we just talked about walking, your daughter down the aisle? You're not going to get to walk your daughter down the aisle if you continue this.
Were you truthful when he asked you how many drinks a day?
No. No. As truthful as I could be at that time.
I remember when mine asked me, I had a couple beers a day.
And they know. They're looking at your insides. He's pushing. You feel this? You feel this? Yes, sir.
You're yellow.
And my wife's sitting here crying, and I'm sitting here popping jokes, to try to. Meanwhile, inside, I'm dying. I'm emotionally bankrupt, spiritually bankrupt. The mind is the last to go. So My sister came, my sister, by the way, is the same age as Larry. They went to school together. That's how I know Larry was a dick.
Tammy never thought I was.
No, she was a handful herself. So my nephew had stayed with us. This is about Memorial Weekend 2011. My nephew, my sister's oldest, came to stay with us just to visit. And then, lo and behold, I didn't know he had told his sister, or his mother, my sister, you need to go see your brother. He's not doing good.
Wow. How old was he?
Nico, he was probably 20.
Okay, so he was old enough to notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she came down to visit Memorial Day weekend-ish. And I had gone outside in the garage to, and up to this point, again, this is from the 4 years from failing my drug test to where I was here.
So that 4 years had lapsed.
Yeah. And in this time, when as it had gotten bad, I had one prayer. I'd hit my knees before I'd pass out, and I would just beg God, this is it. God, don't give up on me.
Right.
Please don't give up on me. And
had those
in oblivion.
Right.
Wake up, go to work. Always never not go to work. So I went outside to the garage because we hide it. Why do we hide it? I have no flipping idea, but we do. You're ashamed or
Feel like you're getting away with
normal
something.
People don't hide liquor, by the way.
No.
And they don't hide it in their toilet bowl.
Right.
They don't hide it in the garage. They don't hide it. We do.
No.
So I came in and my body wouldn't process liquor anymore. It just wouldn't do it. And so I came in from the garage. I fell on my ass, and then that ugly tears, like that guy had made me cry.
Yep.
Here comes the snot and the tears. And my sister, who actually is 4'11", little porty thing, walks up, and she's about eye level. And here I am just crying. I'm just broken, And in my mind, what I was going to do, because I knew I had a problem with alcohol, so I had life insurance was great, the union great, college to be taken care of. Because this time by this time I had a son, and they were, they don't remember me drinking, but they were, I had children. Everything would be taken care of, and here's the old self-pity alcoholic, they'd be better off without me.
Right, there it is.
They'd be better off without me. That just chicken shit, whiny pussy. I hate. Anyway, but that was me. That is where I was. Sorry again. You're going to be offended. Whatever. Get over it. Or don't. I don't really care. So she comes walking up. She says, baby. And now she's my older sister. She's 3 years older, just like you are, 3 years older than me. She says, baby, what's wrong? And I said, I'm an alcoholic. And she says, I know.
Is that the first time you uttered it out loud?
The first time. And she
but
says,
you had said it in your head.
In my head, I said I was a drunk.
Oh, okay.
I got a problem. I'm a drunk.
Right.
This I said, I'm an alcoholic.
Right.
And she says, I know. What do you want to do about it? And again, up to that point, I was going to just carry this thing till it killed me.
Right.
Family be taken care of.
Real quick, Rob, did your wife ever say anything to you up to that point?
No.
Was she...
She was passive aggressive. She was my great enabler.
Okay. And that has been discussed between the two of you a lot.
Because that kept me at home.
Right.
Well, I mean, not that I would go out, but I wouldn't get in a vehicle and drive.
Right.
She would go get... Jack Daniels was my...
Right.
Booze. I did not like beer. I don't like sweet.
Right.
Jack Daniels was my go-to.
Gotcha.
Loved it.
Okay.
Straight out of the freezer.
Right.
In a glass. The nice big glass. You drink that as fast as you can. Then your body makes that ease and comfort. Your body makes that sound. Then you can actually drink like a gentleman.
Right.
For the most part.
So Tammy told you.
Yeah. So then this was coming up to Memorial Day weekend. My wife was actually going to drink. We had bought different kinds of alcohol. She was actually going to drink with me, which was good news for me, right? So I could drink like I wanted.
Right.
That never happened. So we called my boss at the time, went out to his house, his wife and him. He is now, he got sober 2 years after me.
Okay.
So we went out there with my sister, BJ, and his wife, and came up with a game plan. We called the same place you had went to, Maynard's, 13 years before.
Right.
I was there 13 years before you, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So they didn't have a bed for me, though. Said, you're going to have to, so my sobriety date would actually be in May.
Okay.
But they told me the same thing they told you. So
don't stop drinking.
Yeah. Well, they didn't say that. They just said, we don't have a bed for you until June 1st.
Okay.
Or May 29th, the last day of May. So for two and a half days, I just sweat. I just on the couch.
So you decided to withdraw yourself.
I didn't know that could kill you. We didn't know.
Gotcha.
So I just, anyway, alcohol wasn't working for me. My body stopped processing liquor. And I was terrified when I was on my ass on the floor.
Right.
So we just said, okay, well, wait 2 days. So and it was holidays, so I wasn't at work. I didn't know. No one told us, hey, you can die from that.
Right.
Just sweat and shake and miserable.
So you never tried to quit before then?
No. I had tried everything on page 30, though.
Right.
Drinking beer only, limiting the number of drinks. All the stuff we try to do except stop drinking.
Right.
No.
No. I had.
Why?
I'd been through those withdrawals before.
See, I never had stopped until
I was scared to death to go through it again. That's why when I went up there, I told them I am not going through this withdrawal. That's why they put me on the medicine.
Then I went through 2.5 days of that.
I was a pussy.
And then they called and said, are you ready to come up? I said, sure. They said, how are the shakes? And I was like, how the do you think they are? I can't tell. I have to have my wife hold my pecker to take a piss. They're terrible. And so she goes, you need to. She goes, once I told her what I've been doing, that I was drying out. She says, you could have killed yourself.
Right.
Well, thanks for the enlightenment, lady.
Right. Now.
What do we do about it now? She goes, you need to get something in you. So that's the same thing they said to you. So I handed my wife the phone. I said, here, you need to take this. So my wife, who Larry gave it, her name is Bonnie. The lady said, you need to get some alcohol in him because we don't. And she says, what the, my wife, you got to be nuts. We just spent 2 days of hell to get
drying him out.
So I said, hey, you heard the lady. Let's go. Right. So off we go to get a pint, put that down, and on the way up to Maynard's, which was the worst drive.
Yeah. Yep.
And the worst time. Mm-hmm. You talk about, and there was, all my life.
Yep.
Again, I had a great life.
Right.
Not a perfect life. My parents were not perfect, but they did the best they could. They're imperfect people. They're going to raise imperfect people.
Right.
However, blessed. Just a great life. Right. Middle-class life, just like you. Great,
I
mean, great life.
Great raising.
But I was never comfortable in my own skin.
No.
Never. And really uncomfortable now because I had no crutch to lean on.
Right.
I had that half pint did not do.
Nope.
It may have stopped something, but you're getting ready. You're going off into the
oblivion
to no man's land.
Right. You don't know. You don't know
the unknown.
Right.
Which is what So we're full of fear anyway.
Right.
We're full of self-pity. We're full of regret, shame, guilt, remorse. You name it. We're fucking full of it. And now I'm just like alive. I'm just like a nerve, exposed nerve up there.
Yeah.
So I get there, and I will not let them put me on anything. I said, listen, I just had that. You're not sticking another drug in me. I'm done. I'll deal with what I have to deal with. So they'd wake you up every 2 hours, and I would get pissed. I just got to sleep.
I was sleeping.
Finally, leave me. Anyway, go through all that.
Right.
And on day 3, I meet this man. His name is Chris. You guys have heard about Chris. This is the same Chris, just
we spoke about in the previous
quite a few years earlier. And he sits next to me, and he's beaming with light. I mean, Chris.
We
Chris.
just talked about him.
Pain in the ass. Just light. And he sits next to me with this big, bright smile, and I'm in the darkest place of my life. And he says, hi, my name's Chris. I'm going to be your counselor. And I wanted to punch him in the mouth. Just get away from me because I was just exposed.
Right.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
But when he said that, and I looked at him, and this is what came out of my mouth, I said, I cannot live like this anymore.
Right.
Where that came from, I have no idea. And he says,
I can lay it open.
But he goes, I can help you.
Right.
And I have no idea why I believed him, but I did. And that's where I first had hope. Up to that point, I was hopeless. Goosebumps again.
Goosebumps.
Because that
was your moment of clarity at that point.
Well, I had the moment of clarity on my butt. Because once
in your garage,
in the hallway.
Right.
From that point on, I was looking back, the obsession
gone.
was removed. I never felt that again. I still had to deal with the isms of alcoholism.
Right.
To get down the causes and conditions, or I would be back on my ass. Right. But when Chris said that to me, my eyes just filled with hope. Right. Because, with the who of sobriety, the willingness, honesty, and open-mindedness, I didn't have the first two. I just became willing. Right. At that moment. But all I had, once he gave me hope, then came the willingness. The honesty, brother, you're going to have to teach me that.
How long had you been in there?
Son of a bitch.
How long had you been in there to that day? Couple days? 3 days?
That was the third day. When he came up and introduced himself, I'm going to be your counselor. And I said, I can't live like this. He goes, I can help you. And I believed him because not that he said it with so much conviction. He just said it. Right. But I believed it. And I said, in my mind, whatever this cat tells me, if he says, hey, go stand in the corner with a grapefruit on your head, boy. Were you just broken open at that? So much broken open? By anybody? Because I wanted this on day 2 because everybody got to go to, they take people to meetings. Right. I was there by myself because I wasn't. You didn't have a counselor yet. No, and I was still under surveillance. So I was just sitting there, and I know the casino's right up the road. Right. And I'm leaving. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? Oh, yeah. And then this gal came out who ended up being one of my best friends. We were the 2 oldest in the. They called her the crier because that's all she would do was cry. She came out and cried back to her room, but she came out and there I was in tears. And I was just not ugly cry, but I was just broken. Just, that great gift of desperation, just broken. Mm-hmm. And she came out crying. She looked at me. She goes, "You didn't get to go either?" I said, "No, I didn't." Her name was Julie. Amazing young lady. But she was, my age, still young. We were young then. And she says, "Don't give up. It gets better."
This was the crier?
This is the crier.
Wow.
She says, "Don't
She's
give up."
telling you. She's giving you hope.
Yeah. She says, "Don't give up. It gets better." And she starts crying again and walks back in the room. So, and I didn't. So that day, day 2, I didn't leave because I was about ready. I was just crawling in my own skin. I was about ready to leave. Piss on this place. I'm leaving. The next day I met Chris. And I got hope. And I did everything he asked. And that's when things turned for me. I got involved. Everything turned. I became more of a leader in that place because I was one of the older ones at that time when I got sober. I mean, imagine that being older, one of the older ones in your 30s. Whatever.
Marty wouldn't let me be a leader up there. I wonder why.
Well, because you're an asshole. And you bucked the system. You were going to rewrite the big book. You were going to tell them how to run their, how many days you sober? 2 days, and let me tell you how we get it done. But again, when you come into the rooms, tell them how you got 2 days, because there's going to be coming someone behind you with 1 day, just miserable, 1 hour. I met, there was a guy yesterday at a meeting me and Byron went to, still in the middle of it, just looking at us. He goes, "You guys must have been here, weren't you?" "Yeah, we were there."
"Oh, yeah.
We were right where you were." I go, "Here's the key, though." He goes, "But you guys got it all together." Maybe. We got it more together than you.
Right.
I go, "But the question you need to ask yourself is, how do we get here?
Right.
How do we get from where you are to here?
Right.
If you want what we have, do what we do."
So talk to me more about after that third day.
After the third day, it was a breeze. I mean, and then my wife did it because they could have visitations on Sunday.
That was back before COVID, before they changed a lot of that.
Way long before that. They could have visitations
I'm going to throw
Sunday.
that fucking chair out the window.
I'm sorry. So the first Sunday I had one visitor. It was not family. It was a friend of mine from work. Good man. Mm-hmm. The second Sunday, my wife came back up because at this point she did not think I was alcoholic. She said, "Well, you don't kick the dog, you don't beat the kids, you don't beat me, right? Yeah. You go to work and come home. You can't be an alcoholic. I've never seen you drunk."
Yeah, no, nope.
Right, that was her words.
Right.
So when she came up, the second she goes, "Oh, wow,"
because she saw it. Yeah.
Well, my eyes weren't yellow anymore. My skin, I didn't have that puffy shine. Right. My body was shutting down. My liver was shutting down. Yeah.
She didn't notice because she was living with you.
It was just
right.
Progressive.
When Tammy came to see you on that one, did she notice?
Yes.
She noticed right away.
They both noticed. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Tammy noticed. When Tammy came to see me, when she came to stay with us, she saw it.
Right.
Bonnie, my wife, had seen it every day.
It's like when you get a puppy, right? Everybody comes around and says, "God dang, that dog's gotten big." Well, it looks the same to me, right? Because you don't when you're around it every day. So she just didn't notice, right?
But and then she had hope,
right?
Because she could hear difference in my voice,
right? She
heard the difference. She finally had hope. Okay, there's,
right.
There might be some, not that we were going to get divorced, but wow, my husband might not die, might leave me with 2 kids to raise.
All right. I remember the first time I talked to my brother, he goes, "You sound better," and I'm like, "I didn't know I sounded like shit before." You
don't know,
right?
You don't know that you don't know,
right? You don't know what you don't know.
Johnny O.
So
yeah, Maynard's was great. And then about 2 days before, there's on June, July, they have what's called a roundup,
right? Where
a lot of old, if you're a Maynard's alum, you can come up and they stay and they camp. And Chris, there was 6 months before that, Chris had sponsored a young man. I call Larry a young man because he is young to me. He's more like my dad now.
Not this Larry.
Not you, Larry. This is Larry G.
Yeah.
Who turned out to be my big brother.
Right.
Larry had been with Chris 6 months previous. He goes to the same fellowship where Chris's sponsor Jay, my sponsor Jay, your first sponsor Jay. Yep. All these things God gets tied together that you don't know.
Right.
That you don't know.
Right.
So I met Larry, who was from my hometown, much older gentleman than me. He was old enough to be my father, which he basically, him and Jay are my father. So my father died young and didn't get to see this man.
That, right.
I mean, he sees him,
right?
But I didn't get to this time on earth with him. So I graduated on a Thursday. They call graduate, right?
Right.
And I was ready to go. Larry my family picked me up, brought me home. Larry came into my house. Off to my home group we went for the first meeting that Thursday.
There you go. Guess what time it is, Rob?
Drunk of the week.
There we go. Let's go to Germany. A drunk German horse. What?
There's alcoholics in Germany?
No.
Can't believe that.
It's all water over there. A drunk German horse rider rode into a bank foyer to sleep for the night after having one too many. Wolfgang Heinrich
Sorry. Go ahead.
Why? I work with a guy with that last name. That ought to be funny. Wolfgang Heinrich, 40, from the German town Weisenberg. Not Heisenberg. Not Budweiser.
What if his last name was Heineken?
Heineken. Wolfgang Heineken
From
Weisenberg.
From Bud Weisenberg.
No, now you're reaching.
I know.
Had been riding his Haflinger horse. That's a big horse, by the way.
What is it?
A Haflinger. They're just under a Clydesdale. They're big.
So it's a draft horse.
Big old draft horse.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Sammy, when he stopped to have a drink with friends.
Drink.
Yeah. We all just go in for one.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you tell it.
That's why you.
But when he left the pub, he realized he was too drunk to ride all the way home. Smart guy. And because it was cold, he decided to use his bank card to open it. I bet you there's a lot of homeless people don't realize you can do that. If you just go and get an ATM, you can sleep inside a foyer.
In Germany.
Nearby bank foyer, and take himself and Sammy inside to sleep it off. Heinrich and his horse were found in the early hours of the morning by local man Stefan Honelet, 36, who came to the bank to take out some money. He said it was a bit of a shock to find a man on a horse asleep in the foyer of the bank, and rang the police straight away. Heinrich was let off with a warning and rode home.
Nice.
But bank staff was less than impressed when they arrived and had to clean up after the horse.
That's what I was waiting to say. I waited to hear if that happened. That horse had to dump something.
Well, at least he was smart enough not to ride it all the way home. Take a nap, I guess. All right. So we're in June and you're out.
I am out into June, and I am out on a Thursday. So my big brother Larry comes to pick me up at my house. We go to what turns out to be my home group, and he says, "There's 2 men here that I want you to meet." Basically, I'm looking for a sponsor,
right?
Because what Chris had buried into my head: get a sponsor, work steps. Get a sponsor, work steps. Get a sponsor, home group, work steps. Again, when I had that hope, I'll do everything he asked, right. And he had an outpatient plan for me, and that was my goal. And I'm a lot like you. I'm driven,
right?
And if I get something in my mind,
right.
It's going to get accomplished. If I have to, bloody finger knows what, it's going to happen.
Right.
So and it just so happens the first man I meet was Elliot. Mm-hmm. Elliot he was my neighbor, and my sponsor has right now 49 years of sobriety, as we speak. He just got it. Elliot was a little bit ahead of him. Mm. So these two had I didn't know they had the most sobriety in the room. It doesn't really matter. So Elliot, and then he came up and Larry goes, "Elliot, I want you to meet Rob." So this first thing Elliot said to me, he goes, "Hey," and he asked me where I lived. I told him my address. He goes, "Oh, you live right down the road. You live 2 minutes from me." Hmm. He goes, "Call me before you take the first drink. I'll go to hell with you. Call me after you take the first drink, son. You can go to hell by yourself."
Right.
And walked off. And I was like, "Dude, I like that guy.
Old school.
I like that guy."
Right.
And then I met Jay, and there was just something about him, the way he carried himself, the way.
Oh yeah.
Because at this point,
yeah.
I just didn't want to feel comfortable.
Right.
I was still crawling because I wasn't drinking. I didn't have that spiritual awakening. I was in the middle. I was in limbo. But yet, and I met him. I was like, whatever he's got.
Yeah. Same thing I said about you.
I want that.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
You felt alone when you walked into that room for the first time. No, because you walked in with Larry, didn't you?
I walked in with Larry.
Yeah, I walked in all by myself.
But I didn't feel alone because...
I didn't feel alone after I got in.
Normally, when I would go into a place like that, I'd have to be tuned up.
Right.
To go, even if it was with family, I had to be tuned up to. But when I walked in there, felt like home. Yeah. I was comfortable, and everybody hugging on you. Like, and I'm not one that because of things that happened to me, I don't like to be touched.
Right.
You have to, there's a boundary there that I don't care how good looking you were. You don't touch me. So we
won't tell them what we did this last weekend together. Then
no, we won't. No, we're no spoon stories. We're good. So after the meeting went on, I went up and asked Larry or Jay, "Would you sponsor me?" He said, "Yeah, I'll work with you." So there we go. Off we went. And again, like you meet with Jay once a week, kind of, and it was slow. Mm. Yeah. And I started losing my cookies because again, I had 1 foot here, no alcohol. So and he got those just after one meeting. I sat him down and said, "Listen, I've got to go. I need to get something in me because I'm losing my mind."
Yep.
So off we went. And again, Jay was quite a bit younger than when you had him. Off we went. And now again, 3 years later, I redid the steps with a brother of mine named Kurt, who was turned out to be my sponsor for a while too, because I needed that. But this was get the low hanging. Me and Jay did the low hanging fruit.
Got it done.
Yeah, got it done
the old school way.
Yeah.
The The way it's written in the book.
Boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Let's go.
Right.
As fast. He goes, as fast as you get done.
Right.
So I went home. 3.5 hours. He showed me he broke down the 4-step, how he wanted it, just like out of the book. And
right.
that day I went home 3.5 hours. It was done. And I called him up. I'm done. All right. Then can you meet me tomorrow? Then it was just as fast as
when you
could
started
go.
writing that 4-step, was it more coming out than you expected?
Yes. Well, I did again. At this point, I just did whatever I was told. He said,
Right.
"This is what I want you to do. Say a prayer." You know, because we established I have a higher power.
Right.
I believe that there's a God.
Absolutely.
I'm going to get to know this cat as
Right.
best I can, but I believe that he's up there. Then say a prayer, start right, and then it just came.
Yep.
And then what I had to do, I had to pull back because I'd start crying. Stop, and I get the paper all wet.
Right.
Go back at it again. Do your resentments.
Right.
Do your fears. And for me, resentments, because again, I wouldn't let people get too close. I didn't trust you.
Oh, yeah.
So my resentments were not that big because I didn't let you get too close.
Right.
But there was enough there. Sexual inventory, you would think, knowing me, but not really. But it was my fears dominated.
Oh.
Just like Santa Claus's effing naughty and nice list.
Right.
It was a scroll.
Right.
And I didn't realize that. I mean, then it became a whole new document to me.
Right.
As I started looking, holy crap.
Afraid of everything.
Yeah, afraid to succeed, afraid to fail, afraid of this, afraid of that. Wow.
Right.
Rejection, abandonment, turning left, turning right.
Right.
So many decisions I made based which I don't do anymore. And I don't let anybody that I work with do that anymore because fear is not part of the equation anymore.
No.
Awesome. So, but then when I went and told, and then I had to do the step 5 with him,
Right.
got all this done and sat down, and I did not have the experience that a lot of people have. They talk about like you did.
Right.
You have that weight lifted off. You have that breath of fresh air.
Right.
I did not have that.
You didn't have it during that period.
No, I didn't have that one. But I knew, I mean, again, I was like a raw nerve still.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just every little touch. But I knew, I believed that this was the only, because he said, this is what I did. You want what I have, this is what we did.
Right.
And I knew this was the only way I was going to be able to be open with him. And he'd not throw me away.
Okay.
I was not going to get thrown away. I had to trust in that.
Yeah,
let this happen, and you're not going to discard me. You're not going to reject me. And he didn't. And he even shared some of his.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, no way, you did
Right.
that? Your chicken
His
died
chicken
too? Son of a gun. My chicken died.
Maybe we'll get into that story whatever one of these days.
My chicken died. It wasn't as tough as it should have been. Whatever. But it showed me that I'm not totally unique.
Right.
I'm just one of you. I'm human.
Right.
I'm not an angel. I'm not the devil. I'm somewhere in between.
Right.
But I was shading myself this way.
Right.
Now it's time to walk the other way.
Right.
And he was showing me the path, and God's going to give me the power.
Right.
And that's what, like I said, it became a new document. And that's why I always bring up page 64, because this is what he did to me, because this is what really broke for me. Because I was trying to blame everything on Jack Daniels and drugs and you and her, and he didn't hold me enough, and he was too loud, and just pussy. Anyway, so Jay kept pointing out, he goes, read that again, as we were going through the book. And it says, our liquor was but a symptom. We had to get down to causes and conditions.
Right.
Again, okay, our liquor is but a symptom, we had to get on again. And I'm thinking, and I'm praying, this time I'm praying to the God that I don't quite know yet. I believe he's there.
Right.
Always have, but I don't know you. But I need your help because this cat's wanting me to get something and it ain't jiving.
Right.
It's not gelling. Then all of a sudden it did. And then again, here comes the crying.
Right.
Here came again the ugly crying. I mean, which I've always been told, which I was told, when that happens, do not stop it.
No.
That's healing.
Right.
You let that come.
Right.
Anyway. So, but what it would clicked in my mind was what God had just told me, not Jack Daniels, not dope. You weren't the man you were and didn't behave the way you did because you drank.
Right.
You drank and behaved the way you did because of the kind of man you were.
Right.
You didn't have a drinking problem, asshole. You had a thinking and a rob problem. But I needed the steps to reveal that and God's power to restore that.
And that, Rob, what that right there is a big thing for me, and with hopes through this podcast and everything that we got. And thank you for getting to that part. I was hoping you were going to step on that one, because that's really where I was trying to get you to go, to that right there, what you talked about. Because I've heard you talk about that before, right? This podcast and what we do is getting to people to understand that this alcohol, whatever it is in your vice, and I've said this to many people, that I believe everybody should go through these steps. I don't believe you have to be an alcoholic to go through these steps. Wouldn't hurt my grandmother. Huh? Wouldn't hurt my grandmother. I know a lot of people that this would be helpful for. When you get down on paper and you realize that what are my resentments? What are my fears? What's causing this stuff? And so many people have resentments, and so many people have, I get in trouble with my family a lot because when they'll get mad about something, and I'm like, well, what's your part in that? And oh my gosh, they want to start throwing shit at me because they don't want to look at it. They don't want to look at it.
We wanted to look at our part.
No.
But for our salvation, we had to.
That's the only way I can look at shit anymore.
But anymore.
Right. Now.
Well, and then now, because Brad's wife.
Right.
And Doug's wife.
Right.
Who I know. I mean, I went to school with Doug's wife. And I had taken Doug through the steps. So she saw, and Doug had been more so, he'd been longer sobriety than I have. But, that's how we sponsor one another.
Right.
She reached out, hey, he's my husband, he ain't doing it.
Right.
Could you take me through, and just like a resentment?
Right.
Well, actually, I took her because her fears were, so I took her through her fear inventory, right? Mm-hmm. This is not one of us.
Right.
This is a friend who asked to see us saw a difference and asked. So I did. So we go start doing that. She brought up some things about her dad. She goes, is that a fear? I said, no, baby, that's a resentment. That's what we call a resentment. She goes, do you have anything for that? Let's go. But the difference it's made in her life, the difference it's made in their marriage, she understands a little more. And then Brad's wife asked for me to do this kind of same thing. And I've taken my wife through a fear inventory at her pace because they're not one of us. They don't need that.
They don't.
And I remember sitting with her 3 months later. 3 months. Would I let anybody go on for 3 months? 3 days, you better have some work to 3 months. But again, it's my wife and she's not one of us.
Right.
So we're sitting there having breakfast at Cindy's. When you had your little epiphany.
Oh yeah.
And I go, hey babe, how's your little fear inventory coming? She looks up, drops her fork. She goes, well, I'm 13 years old. I realized, she had these things I hadn't let go of.
Here it comes.
But what healing has came from that?
Right.
No, so again, that's just a long way of saying these steps. If you have the guts,
to
look at yourself, they wouldn't hurt anybody. They would do nothing but be a blessing.
And I heard you say something a minute ago, and I wanted to touch back on that. We're starting to wrap up a little bit. You said something that, when you were reading that from page 64, that you had that prayer that you reached up and you reached up to your higher power. For you and I, our higher power is the same thing. It's our Lord Jesus Christ. And when you reached up to that and that came through to you, did you feel your relationship grow? So for me, my relationship through AA has gotten much closer with my higher power, my God, than I ever had prior to.
You know why?
Why?
Action.
Oh my gosh.
There's no chapter in our book called Into Thinking. There's a chapter called Into Action. We start, and if you read it, even in the other book that we read, which we love, you get into God. When people think of waiting on you, but when you get into action,
right? But Rob, we go through Bible studies. We do all that
study though. That's not
right.
That's not living it. We are living.
Right. That's
At
the point I was
first, it was out of necessity.
Right.
Now that I don't think about drinking anymore, I think about breathing.
Right.
It's been removed.
Right.
By Him.
Yeah.
And now because people think they say, now I know.
Right.
God, I don't know of Him.
Right.
I know Him. It's a relationship. As real as this relationship is with you and me, it's real.
100.
And that communication
100%.
is real.
Yep.
It has to be.
Yep.
And it grows over the years.
A living God.
Yeah.
Living God in us.
So when people say, do you do you believe in God? No, I don't. Do you believe Katie's your wife? No, you know it.
Right. No, for a fact.
And I can't explain that to someone. No, I know there is because I have a relationship with God. And it is real. As real to me as anything else. Because of these steps that I took.
Right.
The brokenness that I felt when I had nothing else but to reach it. That's what He loves. God loves a broken and contrite heart.
Yeah, but does He want you to come to Him that way?
That's the only way we will come to Him.
But it's the only way we will. Not everybody comes to Him like that.
No. But most people that I have found, humans, us in particular, we move at the speed of pain. When the pain we're in becomes greater than our fear of change, we change. Up to that point,
always just
like when you talk about your family. Right. Hey, what's your part? Who the hell? What are you talking about? They don't want to look at that.
No.
Yeah, I call it the shit. The steps for me, and I've said this to you, are the shit sandwich analogy.
Right.
Not me, not you. Not our wives. Nobody listening to this podcast has eaten a shit sandwich they didn't have a hand in making. The steps point out, oh, crap, I keep slicing the bread.
Right.
I keep spreading that.
Right.
If you don't, and you maybe you made 90% of that sandwich, maybe you made 10%. If you didn't make any, you won't eat any.
Absolutely. All right, Rob. Well, guess what?
We're going to end on the shit sandwich.
We're going to end on a shit sandwich. Anything else you want to interject?
No, I'm good.
You good?
I dig it.
You got it all off?
Most of it.
All right. Good. This has been Recovery Unfiltered. I'm Larry.
I'm Rob.
You can reach us at Recovery Unfiltered, Rob and Larry recoveryunfiltered@gmail.com. That's recoveryunfiltered
ROB, the letter N, and Larry
@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us today.
We hope you learned something today that will help you.
If you did not, come back next week and we'll try again.
If you like what we heard, give us a 5-star review. If you don't like what you heard, kiss my... You can't say that, can you? Anyway, if you don't like what you heard, go ahead and tell us that too. We'll see what we can improve. We probably won't change nothing, but do it anyway.
Hey, thanks, Rob. Come back next week and hopefully something will be different and something will sink in.
This has been Recovery Unfiltered.